Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Focus of the Month session. Today, we're going to be talking about recommenders, who are an important piece of your application puzzle because they're the only third party who's coming and vouching for you, vouching for your abilities, and hopefully telling good things about you. So, we're going to look at how to get the better recommendation letters. And, in fact, to make it fun, I want to see how many times I'm using the word recommender today. All right. But anyway, I always think like, oh, it's coming up so many times, but you see that it is so important in so many ways. All right. Thanks so much for your patience so far. And we were just waiting for a few people to join us. But now that we have enough quorum and a lot of people here, let's get started. You might be wondering, oops, this is what happens when, right. Oh my God. I hope it's okay. Just 1 minute. Yeah, we got it working. And there we go. So what are we talking about? Who's talking is me, Kritika, one of the co-founders of Career Labs. But today I'm coming to you with my admissions consultant hat and going to tell you about how I help so many other people get their applications. And I hope that you are also doing so. All right. So with this, let's move ahead. You know the focus of the month sessions, but I see a few new names as well. For those of you guys, what we have been doing so far, our endeavor has been always to help you with one milestone every month. Okay, so if you look at all of these milestones, it is about taking a decision or getting a deliverable. So here you took a decision about the test intake timeline. Here you took a decision about your resume and you got the deliverable as a resume or a CV, depending on the case. Then using these three webinars, at the end of the day, you will be able to get a short list of the programs to which you want to apply. And then of course, now you are going to see how to get the best letter of recommendation from your recommender so that you can go ahead. Okay. And coming up next is next month, we're going to be talking about how to gear up for the application and how to get ready. All right. So you might wonder, oh my God, I forgot all these webinars and I've not seen it. Where do I see it? That's exactly why we have the course portal, the Career Labs course portal, where we keep all the information for you in one place. It can be accessed in two ways, either directly through the Career Labs, the servicing portal, or through the other portal. Very simple. You go to the courses section and you will see the webinar and you'll sign up and you're already able to access, or you go to lms.thecareerlabs.com and again you can access the same way. Okay, so I just wanted to see and check, of course, if you're able to hear me all right. Okay, all right, everybody was able to hear me, and very thank you so much for your quick votes, everybody. You guys are awesome. All right, now tell me one more thing. Have you accessed the course before, or can you have the access to the course, or do you not have access? Just let me know quickly. Okay, you should have the access because we put a lot of information there. And second thing is, we highly recommend that if you like, it's very easy. So for me, if I find a portal anywhere, I'll just use it because it's easy to keep things in one place, right? All right. So what are some of the, which semester are you currently in? I hope that many of you have transitioned to the next semester. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's quite possible that you're still in the previous one. That's okay. Right. So this is pretty much expected. Yeah, good. I know some of you are in three-year degree programs, right? Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been, today is my third webinar. This is the third webinar. You guys have been the fastest at responding to polls. Excellent. Keep it up. Okay, what are we going to talk today? I promise that other than helping you count the number of times I'm telling a certain word, okay, I'm also going to be telling you enough things that can give you a lot of value for your money, or for your time today. And what are we going to look at is, one side is all about your recommenders, another side is all about other things that can help you in your journey. Okay, so with this, let's get started. So um, if you have not already seen, to make it easy for you, what we did is, in the very beginning, you will see something called as your learning path. there you will see the application checklist, and when you go to the application checklist, we already have all the things that you need for it. Okay, so I hope that you will be able to access it later. So today there are 4 handouts. All these 4 handouts are available here. That's what I wanted to tell you. So in this handy checklist and the application checklist, all the 4 handouts of today are also available. So in case you forget to download today, don't worry, you can always download it there. Excellent. So we always think about where you are in terms of the timeline. Timeline is like October, November, December is when it's like September is when it starts, and October, November, December is the deadlines depending on the program to which you're applying. So by now in June, you should have finished all this. Okay, and that's why we're talking about identifying recommenders. It's just thinking in your head who's going to help you. All right. If you're in spring, we already have finished helping our spring clients. You might be a little late. So if you're not already, reach out to us. So come back to us and let us know if you were applying for spring. Spring deadlines are for going for January of 2024. So there are very few people whom we help out in spring typically. And who is this webinar for is everybody looking for technical and techno management programs, as you can see on the screen. Also, it is quite necessary for you to think about where you're going and studying. A little bit more deliberation would be needed. So that's why we have a checklist. So why do we have so many checklists is depending on what you're looking at in the process, etc. So far, we have talked about everything else except the letters of recommendation, which is why we are doing it today. All right, to complete this whole thing. So I wanted to give you quick 1-minute recap, just like how it happens in your TV series, web series. Quick recap. If you want to know which region to go in the short term and in the long term, use the region research worksheet. There is a sample there, it will help you. If you want to understand how much does it cost to go and study, and if cost is a constraint for you, please go and test out our cost of attendance calculator. It will give you an idea of how much money you'll be needing and it can help you. Then once you have decided on certain parameters and what you want, it becomes easy to compare the school to your preferences. So for example, you say that I want a school which is in the top 15 rank in the US. Then you can go and check what is the rank of the school and then you see whether it satisfies the criteria or not. You say that I want a school which is in the $50,000 mark per semester. Then go check it out, right? The school that you're targeting, whether it has the same 50,000 or not. So like that, having your preference makes it easy for you to compare the schools that are needed. Okay. Now, how can you get the initial list? You can see that when you go to the graduate school, right over here in the announcement section, and once you press here, you will see that there is a module 3 on the researching on the grad schools, and there you have the graduate school list. Okay. Not only this, Career Labs also helps you in order to get the grad list as well. Okay, so today let's get back to the topic on hand. See how I avoided the word again. Okay, but anyway, jokes apart. Let's get to the very important thing. I cannot tell you how important a recommender is. I'll give you a story. There was this person with 302 who wants to get into a PhD program, comes from a very good college, and was actually doing a master's there for a year, comes from a good college. So 302 for a PhD is a very low GRE score. Not only that, this person had only one research paper, as in like research publication, which was yet to be published. It was under review. So, I mean, did not have too many things going on for him, but he still got in. You know how? His professor is one of the, what do you call it? He was applying in, why do I remember this person after like literally 8 years? Is because he was applying in entomology. Okay, and I'm so afraid of like all cockroaches and insects and everything, like all reptiles and all that. But anyway, he was applying in entomology, and I remember this person after so many years. So when we worked on the essays, it wasn't so great. Okay, but the recommendation letter came from the senior, like one of the most respected professors of entomology in the world. His professor with whom he was working was definitely one of those people, right? And that professor wrote one paragraph about him. That's it. One paragraph, literally less than 100 words. Okay. And he got in because of that recommendation letter. So that is the power I want to tell you. And it's a true story. By the way, that person actually got into the US with a 302 score, but then decided to go to Korea instead, South Korea. And he's still in touch. He left 5 years ago and he's finished his PhD successfully. And he's now going to be working in Korea in one of those labs. So it's a very good, it's a good story for all of us. But what I want to tell you is the reason it worked for that person was simply because of the recommendation letter that went through. So your recommender can be like one of the best assets for you in your application. So what should you do in the month of July? Think about whom are you going to approach. When I say approach, what I mean is who will you go and ask for the letter? Okay, so that is the first thing you have to understand. And then, okay, once you decided, you know what, I'm going to ask my machine learning professor. All right, once you decided you're going to ask a machine learning professor, you're going to submit your CV. There is a cover letter that we have for you and a recommendation request form. All right, we'll be talking about this shortly. Then in August, please go to your professor and let's check if they're ready with the letter of recommendation, etc., and all that. Okay, and if they're ready, if they've done it, then get it signed and done on the official letterhead. Okay, and you can also give a scanned copy to your professor. So then the professor, then when the application opens in September, you will submit the name of the professor, the email ID, the official designation, etc. Professor will get the login details from the university portal, and the professor will be uploading your scanned copy of the LOR that you got from them. Okay, that's all it is. So now in India, we know that the scanning is done by the student. Abroad, the recommender just writes by themselves. All right. So here also we want recommender to write by themselves. You might wonder how to make it happen. That's why I'm going to help you. All right. It's a very simple timeline, nothing complicated. So what is the most important thing about the letter of recommendation is, as I told you, it gives a snapshot of the candidate from somebody who is not you. Because in the entire application, the letter of recommendation is the only document that doesn't have somebody else. Like, I mean, the only document that has somebody else telling, and it's not you telling something. So what does it do? Look at this keyword here. It verifies your experience, like whatever experience you have, research, study experience, academic experience, course experience, seminar experience, whatever you've done with the recommender. It confirms your expertise, and then it defines the strengths and builds the credibility. So that is the most important aspect. All right. So that is why and I'm going to tell you one more thing. Recommenders are going to be more important in this year because of all the chat GPTs of the world. We'll come to that a little later today. All right. So I hope that you guys are with me so far. Can I get a show of hands, please? If so, thank you. Excellent. Very nice. So now we're going to go into the important thing. Identify recommenders. Is it like I'll go and see? I told you about the story. So you might wonder, I should get the best professor in my field, right? No, it's very simple. You are going to find out people with whom you've worked. All right. Who are those people? You would have worked on a course or a project or an internship or a work. So it'll be faculty members, project supervisors, internship supervisors, or you might actually have done some work. It can be full-time work, part-time work, internship, right? So once you approach the recommenders, once you identify recommenders, then you're going to approach them. Okay, you can go and get the approval from them saying that, yeah, you know what? So for example, you're going to your machine learning professor. You will say, yeah, I know you, Kritika, you are a great student. I'm going to give you a recommendation letter, right? That's what you do. Now, also, please confirm the number of recommendations. Again, another story. There was one client of mine who applied to 21 schools. Okay, he's not a dumb guy. He was extremely smart. In fact, he got $120,000 after he graduated from Columbia School, Columbia School of Columbia Business School recently, and Columbia University actually, because it was a combined degree. He was a smart guy. But then why did he apply to 21 schools? Because he said that at the time he was not in a position to decide where he wanted to go. And he was very confused where he'd get through. See, honestly, he was a very smart person, but he just had his anxiety and he wanted to apply to 21 schools. Nobody could tell him no. So he worked with us for 3 schools, and the rest of the 18 schools he did by himself. Yeah. He did get into 20 of 21 schools. The one school he didn't get in because one recommender did not submit. All right. So now comes the math question. How many recommenders do you think that person had who applied to 21 schools? Can you give me your answers and the questions? And maybe like, why do you think so? Come on, let's make it fun. And it also shows you why it is important to get this important factor. So one person says 10. Okay. 10 recommenders. Okay. 5, 3. All right. So let me give you a clue before you're thinking. Every school requires minimum 3 recommendation letters for his program. So every school needed 3 recommendation letters. So you multiply 21 into 3, you can do the math, 63, right? Okay, so we need a total of 63 recommendation letters for the different schools to which he was applying. So how many recommenders do you think helped him for it? Yeah, trick question. All right, so I'm going to solve this math puzzle for you. I do have answers, everybody. I have answers coming from 3 to 10. All right, so yeah, that 10 has been the highest. That's nice. Let's see. Okay, I'll tell you and explain the problem. So, for example, if I tell you a normal case, in a normal case, you might be applying with us to 5 schools or 6 schools maximum, right? That is what is normal, typical. So, when you're applying to 6 schools, you will find 3 recommenders, and each of these 3 recommenders will give you one letter. All right. But you know what is happening? They have to log into the portal of 6 different schools and then upload this letter, right? Every time. So even though it is only one letter, they will get the login information from 6 different schools and then they have to apply, right? So for them, it's like doing it 6 times. So that is where the recommender will say that I'm going to give it to you only for 3 schools. I'll give it to you only for 2 schools, etc. So anyway, coming back to that story of my client, he had 6 recommenders and sorry, I think 8 recommenders overall. Okay, because one recommender gave him many schools as he wanted. He was very nice, but the other people said that we will do maximum 6 schools, right? So then what he did, he had to mix and match the recommenders. It was a very nice like optimization problem. Okay, he had an Excel sheet and had done the optimization and all that. Okay, but anyway, that's why he got into the amazing one, and then he was very successful as well. So coming back to the other ones, the number of recommendation letters hence becomes important. Your professor may agree only to certain number of recommendations because it takes effort and time and they have to do one extra step. So keep that in mind when you're going and asking the professor. Tell the professor, dear professor, I'll be applying to 6 schools. Okay, and therefore I need you to you will get the login detail from 6 different schools and you'll have to upload the single letter. The letter will be only one, but the what do you call it as the uploading and downloading, sorry, the uploading of the information will happen on 6 different portals or 5 different portals or the number of schools to which you're applying. Okay, yeah, that was like a maybe like a little bit of a side one, but it's an important one, um many times people forget it and then have some issues. Okay, last but not the least, your life should also be easy. I think you all agree your life should be easy. I really feel that my life should be a lot easier than what it is, but yeah, you should make your recommender's life easy. Honestly, folks, to write one recommendation letter, it definitely takes about 30 to 45 minutes after we have all the information. Okay, see, I have been a teacher as well in my life. Before, I honestly forgot about what I did with my but I wasn't a real teacher in the sense of like the awesome professors out there. I was teaching GRE. Okay, but at the end of the day, right, if you ask me how many students have finished how many things, it used to be like, yeah, I think they appeared or they didn't appear. I don't know anything specifically about this person, etc., etc. So what you have to remember is because the professors are going to have thousands of students, they may not remember everything about you like you do. No one's interested in your life like you are. Okay, that's the truth. So what do you have to do? That's why we have two things for you. One is AGAC guidelines. AGAC is the Association of International Graduate Admissions Consultants. Tell it faster than me. I will send you a chocolate, a vegan chocolate, of course. But anyway, AGAC is what helps like graduate admissions together, admissions consultants with the right information, and they have a lot of guidelines which people can refer to. And of course, our Career Labs recommendation request guidelines, which is right there for you in the chat. Okay, so we're going to look at that today and of course have something. So one thing you have to understand is you have to get the recommenders on time, and don't just like last minute is like it's just horrible stuff. Okay, people say, and this is a true sentence I read in one of the recommendation letter. It was the name of some client, and the client, whatever, client comes to class on time. That's what the guy wrote. Okay, so we don't want such letters happening for you. So please send them earlier. Then they will have more time to write more about you and write better things about you and vouch for your credibility, your expertise, as well as your abilities. Okay, so make sure that it's all timely. Now, who can be your recommenders? Let's look at this quickly. So these are possibilities that can be there, and I know some people have graduated as well, so you might be working in a full-time job. In that case, a direct manager, all of it can be there. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question right here on the poll. Have you identified your recommender? So approach to, okay, it's fine. I understand if you're not approached, that's okay. But have you identified? See, do you know? You will know, right, in your head. I'm going to ask this internship supervisor. I'm going to be asking this machine learning professor. I will ask, the professor from second year who taught me like design algorithms or whatever, right? So you have to know who is the person from whom you can get a recommendation letter. So you obviously know which courses you're interested in. So there will be faculty members, so who can help you. So that is something to do. So the people who say no today, I hope that at the end of today, you're going to go and find out who those are. If not, you ask us questions here and we will help you sort it. Okay. Awesome. So that is your set of recommenders. See, when I say minor project guide, what I mean is, I don't know about you guys, but many of my clients have term long projects, semester long projects. So they call it as a minor project. Major project, they call it in the last year of their, what do you call it, undergraduate course. So that is their major project. Okay, typically a year-long project is major project is what I know. Because in bits and all that, there is like summer school, right? Which they go, sorry, not summer school. What do they call it? The practicum, I think. I forget the name right now. But they can go and do internship for another for a long time, right? So there are many things that are possible in different colleges in India. So don't worry about all that, but you have to just remember that, see, sometimes it can be what we call as a faculty in charge. See, for example, some programs have program coordinators, or what they call as course coordinator or course mentor. Okay, these are all names. I don't care about the names. At the end of the day, all these people are professors or faculty members or some instructors of some type. Okay, so that's what we use here in terms of it. If you're having difficulty, why don't you guys just tell us who you're thinking as your recommender? You can just tell us in the chat, please. Like, sorry, chat or your this one, please. Can you? Why don't you just tell us quickly so that we can also know and we can also help you. We can also help you think about who else can you approach, etc. Trust me, you should look at the recommenders now itself, because your friends will also be doing it, and then you may not, your recommender may say that, you know what, I'm already writing for two more students, I can't do it. Okay, so ask them before itself. Once your college reopens in July, first week or second week, even before it opens, you can send the cover letter, which we'll show you in a bit. Who cannot be your recommenders? Any ideas? Your father, mother. You might joke, Kritika, you think I'm dumb to get a recommendation letter from my mother? I have seen that happen with a client. True story. The mother was an HOD. So they did get it. So don't do that. If you have not worked with an IIT professor, for God's sake, don't get a recommendation letter from them. If you have not worked with a manager or a supervisor and you worked only with the people under the manager, don't go to the supervisor, the manager, or the general manager, the deputy manager, etc., and all. Okay. Remember, the title is not important. Your work is important. Okay. If you're all the more concerned, then go do such work that you're working with the topmost person of the company. Okay. Without working for the CEO in a startup, don't say that I worked with the CEO of the startup and get a recommendation letter. All right. By the way, most important rule is please get a recommendation letter from someone who likes you. Another story, do you want to hear? I had like this person, I still remember her. She was a very nice person from a very top school, did extremely well, etc., right? But did things on the last moment. Okay, no one could like really like make her work a little harder. Okay, she said like, yeah, I'm smart, I can get things done, I'll do it on the last moment, what's a big deal? Okay, now in her college, the what do you call it, the person with from whom she was getting the recommendation letter was a very strict person actually. But this person, she had done a lot of work with the person in for one semester, and it really aligned with what she was applying to. So we wanted to obviously utilize that, right? And so she was supposed to approach this person and get the recommendation letter. Okay. Now she applied to 4 programs and she got only one admit. And then we were all very surprised. And you know, in that one admit came from the school where the other recommender had not sent. Okay, you remember the professor who was very strict? So the one place where she got the admit, she had not asked the other recommender. Okay, because the other recommender has said, I'm going to work with you only for 3 schools. Okay. And then we found out later. So she had approached the recommender and she said, hey, I lost it or something. Then the recommender said, you know, you came at the very last moment and all that. So in your recommendation letter, I said that this person can be like, can do better on time and all that. At this moment does not have the potential for graduate school. That's what the person had said. Okay. And said that I wanted to teach you a lesson. That's why I did it. True story, guys. Okay. Happens in India also. So after that, it didn't happen because we refine our processes a lot more to help such clients. Okay, so what is the moral of the story? Don't go to a professor who hates you for the recommendation letter. Don't go to a professor who's so strict that you can't meet their expectations and therefore you are suffering. Now you might argue, is it right for the professor to do so and all this? That's not the point. The point here is that recommenders have the power to actually kill or make or break your application, right? So they can break your application. Just like they can make your application, they can break it. So how do you approach them? Set up an appointment, preferably go there in person, you know. And after you go there in person, write an email with the cover letter, with the CV, with the recommendation request form. All right. You might wonder, where do I find all this great information, Kritika? You are always talking about it. I want to show you 2 documents. Go to the handout section. You have the guide for the applicant and you have the guide for the recommender. I am opening both of them right now. I hope you guys do so as well. Look at the screen, which will open up in a second. So this is a guide for you as an applicant. So we tell you what are all the things that you're supposed to submit and how to get a good LOR, how to write a cover letter, and then all the things you saw today is available here. And this is how the cover letter looks. So dear Professor Kritika, I'm going to request a letter of recommendation from you, etc., etc. Then you say that, you know, dear Professor, I took a course machine learning with you last semester and I got an A grade in it. Okay, and I was also associated with you for the seminar on machine learning, etc., etc. And now I'm going to go for an MS in machine learning course in the United States of America, in University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. I really want to learn more about machine learning, you know, and I know how it is affecting the world that we're living in today. And I think this program will fit my choice. Okay, can I request you for a letter of recommendation? And you know, I was part of your course. I did really well out of the 120 students, and you also praised me in the class one day when I was proving the, you know, implementation of the algorithm. Okay, so I really hope that you can give me a good letter of recommendation. So here is the details that you need to know about me, and this is information. I have sent you all the things that is required. So please look at it and let me know. I would love to talk to you in person about this whenever you have the chance next week. Here are 2 time slots. Are you okay? Okay, that's it. That's a letter. So it's such a small letter, and you can just, I know you guys can use ChatGPT. Don't use it, but this is the form that you're going to send the recommender. Okay, you will tell them, I'm going to Arizona State University for an MS in computer science for machine learning. The deadline is by this date. I would request that you send the recommendation letter by this date. Okay, so can you see this particular slide? Let me see if I can draw on this, which I can, I think. Can you see this, guys? Here? And you will list down all the programs to which you're applying. All right. Suppose you're applying to 6 programs, apply to 6 programs, and tell them that I want your recommendation letters for all these 6 programs, etc., etc. Okay, and then you're going to give them all the information in the way that they want. Okay, so what is the course you took? What have you learned from them? And then what is the project you have done under them? Okay, and then what are the skills you developed by doing the project, and so on and so forth. Okay, if you're going to an internship supervisor or a manager, obviously you would have only done projects, you're not done any course or anything. So you're going to talk about what you have done in the internship. Example would be, what are your responsibilities in the job, what have you done as achievements in the job, etc. See how simple it is. Okay, a very short form, and then we tell you how to submit the letter of recommendation, etc. Okay, so this document is very, very simple and very, very easy for you. How about the document for the recommender? So we tell the recommender what it takes to write a letter of recommendation, how they can be a good recommender, what all should they highlight, what all should they not do, and this is a guideline from AGAC. And then we tell them about how to actually write a recommendation letter, how does it look, and then how, if it's an internship supervisor, how they can write it as well. And then we even give them a framework for it, which we can work with them. All right, and that's it. So we tell them how to use your recommendation request form and then write it. Okay, you see how easy it is in order to get it done. By the way, Career Labs will be very happy to work with your recommender directly. See, this is how I know so many of the professors in Bangalore and elsewhere. All right. We in fact set up meetings with your particular recommender, and then we discuss about how they can work on the recommendation letter. And if they have any queries, we get it done. So through this guidance, I'll tell you one statistic. Before we did this process, a lot of recommenders would ask the students to do it. But after we started it, a lot of recommenders started doing it themselves. So the number of recommenders asking the students to write came from about 30, about 40% to 3% right now. So in when we see, right, many of the recommenders are the ones writing the letters. Of course, it looks like a little hard in the beginning. Don't worry. You can always tell them saying that I'm working with this agency called Career Labs, and they said that they'll be very happy to work with you to do it, and they can help you do it in a very easy manner. Professor, do you think like I can, put you in touch with them? And you can just request a call back from Career Labs, and we will help you with it. Okay, so I hope that you understand that. By God's sake, for God's sake, don't write the recommendation letter or even ask ChatGPT to write it. I'm going to show you why in shortly. Okay, now recommendation letter will always be on the official letterhead or the official email ID. It cannot be from a personal ID. When I say official, it is like, for example, at thecareerlabs.com is an official ID. It won't be from at gmail.com for somebody. Okay, so we already saw the recommendation request form, the CV, and other details and all, right? So you have to understand that while you're giving them all the information they need, you don't have this authority to keep on nagging them. Okay, please don't go every day and say that, oh, give my recommendation letter, etc. All right, so please respect the professor's time so that they're giving you a favorable one. All right, so we don't want you to the other thing to happen for you, right? Like how it happened for my unfortunate client. But don't worry, she's doing really well. The one school she wanted to get an admit was actually her favorite school, so she's okay. Okay, but anyway, That said, here are the guidelines. It has to be shared to the recommender. And what is the process? You will put the recommender's contact information, and then you will also submit all the details to the evaluator or the recommender. And how is Career Labs assisting you? The guide we showed you, and the form that is there that can be downloaded. Again, I showed you no in the form right now. What should the recommender do? They should just log into the application, and then they should submit the letter of recommendation that they have developed. So again, they will have a guide. There is a recommendation form that you have submitted to them. And of course, we can give them a guidance session and help them with any review they might need. Okay. Now, what is ethical in life? As a applicant, typically you shouldn't be knowing what the recommender is telling about you. Okay. So when Career Labs is working with recommenders, we work with them directly. We don't tell what is happening with you. Neither do we tell you what is happening with them. Okay. But the proof is that you will be able to see that in the letters and so on, and you'll be able to get that as well, right? So that's how we do it. And we saw the guide to the applicant, we saw the guide to the recommender, we saw the request form. Okay. And how easy it is in order to fill this out. It's a very straightforward thing. See, when you go on an internship, you know what you're supposed to do on the internship, right? You know what you're learning on the internship. So, like that is very easy. So, I want to tell you two things. One is that there are programs which require you, or sorry, the recommender to answer specific questions. Okay, example, they'll say, how do you evaluate this candidate among the peers? Okay, or they will say, when was the time when you have given a critical feedback and how has the applicant responded? Like that. So that is specific questions. So but then most common for MS programs is a generic letter. All right, how about this? How many of you are, do you know about Harry Potter series? More and more, I feel I'm very old these days, because a lot of people don't seem to know Harry Potter. 2-year-old Indian grand. All right, let's see. But you guys are some of the best crowd. Everyone seems to know. Yes, love it, and yes. So you have definitely like heard of it. Now that's what we are going to use in order to tell you the story as well as tell you about what is needed. Example of the specific questions. For example, this is a question that we needed for the MEM program at the Northwestern University, which is one of the best universities in the US. So you saw this. This is example of the specific questions. Now the generic letters. Let's look at it. So anybody know what is DADA here? This is in the Harry Potter context. Yes, you're amazing. One person said defense against the dark arts. Absolutely. So Harry Potter is going to apply for the defense against the dark arts. Okay. And now who can be a recommender for him? Right? Think about it for a second. Obviously, the people with whom he worked with. He has worked with a lot of people. So anybody want to answer that? Okay. One person says Dumbledore. Of course. All right. So for those of you who don't know, yeah, it is a defense against the dark arts. For those of you who don't know, the potential recommenders are going to be people with whom he has worked with. Okay. And so that is his professor. This was actually like this was a professor who was very respected. Then this was like a person who was not really that friendly with Harry. And this is a person who is his own like what was the term, I forget, their house like like the faculty in charge types. Okay, they were responsible for the house, right? I forget the term. And time for me to go and read Harry Potter again. But anyway, so let's look at this a little bit deeper. So when you're going in, it'll be like the HOD or somebody with whom you've done a lot of projects. Okay, this is a course instructor who has only taught course, nothing else. Okay, and this will be like course instructor and faculty in charge. So as I said, this person was like the house. Um, Anybody remember the name? I don't know. House mistress or something? I don't know. Headmistress. No, not headmistress. So this person was the headmaster of the school. Anyway, so when you're thinking about this, right? you have to see that it's your course instructor is nothing but your faculty instructor, faculty member, teacher, professor, however you want to call it. Okay, faculty in charge means this is the person who's in charge of your entire curriculum, your academics, etc. Right? So many schools have that. So that can also be the things. So let us look at how it happens with the actual letter. Other than this sample, you're not going to get any sample from us, and this is also not a sample. This is like more like a work of art, I would say, and a creative art, right now. So I want you guys to read it as much as you can. You can just always zoom out in your screens and do it, but I'm going to read it for you very quickly and also tell you about what are some things that are good for you and not, right? I won't read the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you some key points. So he says, headmaster of Hogwarts. Do you think it's important? Very. This is like hugely respected principal, respected person, really senior. This person is like the man, like the goat types. Okay, look at all their qualifications. So I'm sure you have faculty members like that. Your vice chancellor, your HOD, right? Your principal, all of them will be like that, right? But so this person telling somebody will be very, very important. They say that they take pleasure in recommending this person. They have held the private lessons. And through these interactions, they monitor the progress as an individual. And they say that they've never met a wizard so brave. Okay. And then I love this quote. It's our choices that show us whom we are. That is so true. So then they say that they don't just say Harry is brave. What are they doing? They say that from destroying multiple Horcruxes to facing Voldemort alone, Harry has always made brave choices. So they show me how Harry is like a brave person. Okay, and they say that he embodies the true spirit of Gryffindor. Okay, by doing the destroying the Horcruxes, blah blah blah. So they're not just telling that someone has the ability; they're giving the proof of the ability. Okay, can you guys take a note of this? It's important. And then last but not the least, they say that he has demonstrated the skills in this class. And then see, this is the defense against the dark arts. Can you see this? Okay. Now, what is the course that this guy was going to apply to? He was going to apply to the defense against the dark arts. So the same thing is happening here. So that relevance to the course is being given. And last but not the least, telling about other skills that Harry might have. And look at the concluding line. He says, as the headmaster of the school for more than 33 years, Harry is one of the highest and the best one that I have seen. So now this is what is called as high praise. But look at the length of the letter. It's not long. Okay. And whenever you have like senior people, they typically write like this. The reason for that is because of their reputation, even one or two words from their mouth is very, very important. Okay. Now, what do you understand from a recommendation letter? It has an introduction, it has a body, and it has a conclusion, along with the other things I mentioned. It has to talk about somebody's ability to perform in that master's program to which they are applying. It has to show relevance. Okay, relevant abilities, not some random abilities, relevant abilities. And it also has to show whether the person is in favor of the person or not, who's applying, in favor of the applicant or not. All right, so let's go to the other one. So this person again talks about she was a headmistress. Sorry, yeah, she was a headmistress and head of Gryffindor. Sorry, that was a term I was looking for. She is the head of the house. So she is also writing. She says that I have taught him courses. Okay, I have taught him so many courses. During the course, I saw that he was able to do XYZ well, and he also got so many score, etc. Okay, during my other course, I saw that he has done this. He also presented a paper, and he did like blah blah blah, etc. Right? See, all this is really made up in life, but it's okay. It's fun, and it also tells you like how the recommendations are read by the admissions committee. Okay, how would I know? Because I was also part of one long time ago. And so what does she talk about here is, because she was the head of Gryffindor and Quidditch or the game was part of it, she can also talk about it. But whatever she is talking here is what we call related to academics. Why is she talking only about academics? Because she has only taught him courses. She has not done multiple projects with him or anything like that. So that's what you have to remember. So this is like a little longer. The reason it's longer is because Professor McGonagall, even though she's awesome, may not be as respected as the other person. So she has to give more evidence of the person's abilities. Okay, and you can see that this is very, very nice, right? Like she's not talking about too many things. She's only talking about a few things and again giving me example of why does she think this person is intelligent? Why does she think this person is hardworking, etc. Okay, so again, whenever a recommendation letter is written, people will not just randomly tell things, they will also show how the applicant displays that quality that they are talking about. Last but not the least, let's go to this one. From the look of it, see, I love the actor who played this character, Alan Rickman, but he was amazing. But this particular character is not that favorable to Harry. So read the letter and tell me one thing. Do you guys think it's a good letter or a bad letter? Go and tell me quickly. Read the letter. I know a little struggle, but you guys have better eyesight than me. I can still see it. One person is telling, looks like a good only, no? Like he's telling good things about him. Alright, so good or bad, guys? Tell me. Whoever says good, raise your hands. Let me see the show of hands. Come on, let's say quick show of hands if you say it is a good recommendation letter. Alright, so I have about 30% of people. Now it's moved to 40% of people saying it's good. Okay, 40% of people have raised your hands. Alright, fine, guys. Thank you. Alright, so let me tell you. Let's look at it. He also is good, huh? By the way, he says profession of potions, blah blah blah, etc. and all that. He is also a person who has taught Harry. Now let's go through one by one. Star performer, extraordinary grace, very ambitious, driven, right background, meticulous nature, blah 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 blah. And then impressed me as one of the very few students who was very successful in the first trial. And then multiple challenges, but still was able to do it well. Excellent with numbers, capable of taking instruction, prompt learner, marvelous with deadlines. What is this he writing? Is he writing one essay about God or what? Right? So how can someone be like all of this? Where is the evidence of it? See, for example, except for here, right, where he says his brew of the draught of the lying death impressed me, etc. I think it should be living death. Except that there is no proof. He's just randomly telling sentences about this person. Okay, so this is what we call as a generic LOR. It doesn't really tell anything about the person and just goes on randomly praising it. When you guys are writing your own recommendation letters, this is what you will be thinking you have to do. So for God's sake, don't ever write like this or copy like this or do anything about this sort. This is the worst sort of recommendation letter that an admissions committee can get. Okay, because they're not learning anything new about you. Okay, we just know that someone is randomly telling things. We don't know how true it is. Okay, so that is why this kind of recommendation letter is absolute what we call as BS. Okay, to put it lightly. So too many details which are unsupported details. There is no evidence. Okay, so that is where we go. So what is the quality of the good letter of recommendation is that it has to be short and comprehensive, like the first one you saw. It has to have the relevant skills. It has to be personalized and detailed, like specific examples, like you saw in the first two letters. Your intellectual abilities have to be highlighted, your weaknesses have to be addressed, saying that how the professor knows about it, but things that you can still perform. And then it has to be relevant to the program to which you're applying and also to the goals that you have. Okay, that's what we need in the letter of recommendation. So I hope that you get like a little bit more clarity about it, and you obviously will not be writing your letter of recommendation, for God's sake. That's the worst thing that you can do to jeopardize your candidacy. All right, so don't do that, you will get rejected. And don't even ask your recommender to use ChatGPT to write it. There also lies a problem. I'll tell you shortly. Okay, so with this we're going to like move ahead really quickly and look at what's needed. The essay questionnaire, right, is like in your handout. It is very quickly to help you understand where you are and what you need. It is a writing exercise. I know that a lot of you guys don't write on a daily basis, so this is what is super important for you. Start addressing 1 or 2 questions every day, and you should be done in less than 5 days. right? Because the rest of the, once you start addressing the questions, the rest of them becomes easy, and many people try to finish it within a week. Okay, so attempt to finish the essay questionnaire by July 1st and then send it to us. That'll be awesome. Where do you find the essay questionnaire? We already have the guidelines and the essay questionnaire, everything right here. Okay, and we also have it in the handout. And see, this is the same guideline that I'm talking about. Okay, so go through this. These are documents which are for your help. Okay, very simple documents. This will help you to put together the essay in the fastest way. Now coming to AI, which I told you. Now, AI is like your ball throwing machine. It is to be used in practice and not for the real game. Simple as that. That's it. Okay, it's a tool. Yeah, it is a tool. But when you are being assessed for your ability to convey and show your interest and commitment to a particular program, it is like a game. It's like a real tennis game. In a real tennis game, you're not going to use the tool that you used for getting better at tennis. So the same analogy counts for AI as well. It is completely unethical. Just that. That's it. So other thing is that if you look at some of the essay questions, right? When you start writing it on your own, you get this ability to answer questions and to get ready for graduate school. Okay, and to think about how to start writing, etc. Now, who's going to come and help you with the reports for your homework later on in grad school? All right, so that's where if you want to be serious about masters, then you're going to do. And number two reason is you will get caught, and you can get caught. There are so many tools. I just put like a few of them. GPT-0 is there. Turnitin has an AI detection tool. Turnitin is used by many of the universities. There are so many plagiarism and anti AI detection software that are in use right now. Okay, so don't even try to like use it and waste your life. And when we looked at, okay, what is the stance on AI? A lot of them are saying that individual instructors will decide, but some of them are banning it directly. They say, I showed you Northwestern, one of the top programs. Stanford is one of the top programs in the world. They do not allow the use of AI tools. Stanford would have actually been one of the contributors to AI, right? Open AI and all. But they don't allow the use of the tool for the purpose of education. Okay. So there is a difference. All right. So yeah, I use like a GPT all the time for my work, but I never use it for writing a LinkedIn post. I do not use it for whenever I have to write an article or I have to like give a speech or something. Okay, because it is about you putting in the effort and learning and all that, right? Of course, you might argue, and one of the people had told me this. Kritika, see, I copy from the senior essay. Then how is this wrong? You should not even be copying from the senior's essay. No, why are you copying from the senior's essay? It's a very wrong thing to do. All right. So that is where please use Career Labs because we are here to support you. And one more thing I have to tell you is that if you use ChatGPT and you are like not just ChatGPT and other 1,000 tools that have come based on it for the writing purposes, if they find it and any violation can always result in a denial or revocation of your admit at any point of time. Okay. So when it comes to the letters of recommendation and SOP, please note that originality is important. Creativity is super important. Understanding the question is important. Understanding the reader, in this case AdCom, is important, or your recommender. Okay, and of course the ethical issues and communication skills are there. So therefore, if at all you want to use a tool, it is only for grammar purposes, spell check purposes, etc. It cannot be predictive text. Okay, do you guys get the difference? See, of course on smartphone also you have predictive text. Grammarly also you have like Grammarly Go. Grammarly Go is an AI assistant. So this is no. Okay, but you can use Grammarly to check for the grammar. Okay, to see if the syntax is right, etc., etc. Like how we used to use spell check, that is okay. All right, but that's something that we really have to keep in mind. I want to ask quick questions before I go, and before we go to the next one. What do you guys think? Like, what are some of the ways by which you can use AI tools? By the way, you don't need AI tools for like helping you with grammar, right? The grammar and spell check normal tools are already available in the world. Now, there was a question in one of the previous webinars today when we were discussing this. They said, why is it wrong if, I'm putting information in ChatGPT and it is helping me make better sentences? I said that it is like making somebody else write it for you. That is why it's wrong. If you want help with making better sentences, you please come to my editor. My editor will tell you how to make it better, what you need to change to make it better. Okay, what is the difference? My editor is not going to give you the solution where you should be thinking, but ChatGPT is giving you the answer, giving you the solution. So that is kind of the difference. Okay, all right, very nice. So I like 50% of you. No, I'm just kidding. I like all of you guys, but yeah, a lot of you have said that you're not going to use the AI stuff. Very good. Keep it up. Use us if you want anything else. And honestly, I'm going to tell you about the same analogy that we had. Okay, how can I use AI as a ball throwing machine so that I can get better at my tennis game? Like that, how can I use ChatGPT for becoming a better writer so that I can write better essays? So that webinar is going to happen. So we will let you know and hope you'll join us. And then we'll tell you about what is an ethical way to use ChatGPT. But when it comes to the actual essay, for God's sake, don't use it and jeopardize your application. Okay, this year we're really worried about it. The reason for that is because so we know that students are using ChatGPT and other things in their regular colleges, etc., and all that. So we're worried if students will, make an effort and all. But knowing you guys right now, I think I can relax saying that you guys will make the effort that is needed, right? See, when are you going to give the GRE or the GMAT? GMAT is for a very few people. All right, excellent, guys. Thank you. I'm a little worried about your timeline, but yeah, uh, it's fine. That's what it is. All right. Tell me a couple more things and let's see that we are good to go. Which of the following recommenders will you choose? This is a trick question to see whether you guys have been listening to me. Okay, very nice. I think 18% were sleeping. No, jokes apart. Professor with big titles with whom you have not worked. That was the catch. I think people forgot to see that. That's okay. No worries. You know now, right? That's cool. You cannot go with somebody with whom you have not worked. Okay? So, which of the milestones have you completed? Let's check that. See, if GRE is taking time, why don't you finish the English proficiency test? That can be done, no? So try that. Sitting for TOEFL or IELTS, that should be easier. I know, right? It looks a little hard, no? Okay, no worries. That's where you will pick up speed now, slowly and steadily. Okay, nice. Very good. So a lot of you have a few things already in place. Good job. Don't worry, the others you try to finish and slowly. This is just to remind you of what all you should do. Okay, the plan for July, August is very clear, guys, on your screen. Go through it the way that you want. We've just put it in the way that we think is the most useful for you. Do go through it the way that you want. It's fine. For today, if you want to work on recommendation request, do it. Tomorrow, you want to work on the essay questionnaire, do it. It doesn't matter. All right. So here are some problems that you will have. Look at the screen. Tell me what is the problem that you're anticipating. Every time I do this, because every time things change for people. So, for example, last month, one person said that I'm going to do computer science, right? But they're coming from electronics and communication engineering. Then after they did the program research, now they came back and said, you know what? I will stick to computer engineering itself, which is like equivalent to your ECE types. And they said that I'm going to stick to that only, and I'm going to change my field. Okay, so they changed the domains. All right. Now they didn't change it at the last moment. Good for them, but they changed it. So the things that you're seeing on my screen right now can happen to you guys anytime from now to later. So tell me, like, if you're facing any of the same problems. So, example, you want to go to, see, you can't go to Germany the last moment without learning German. Example like that. All right. Neither can you choose, like, for example, go to, so you're looking at UK and then suddenly you're going to US, right? But you have like 7 backlogs. It cannot happen. So that's all we mean. So look at it very clearly and make sure that you are not having the mistakes like many of my other clients did in the past. So look at that very carefully, right? So here's a comment that we're getting. Career goal does keep me wondering about a lot of things. Nice. That is the whole point of it. Yeah, there is a career goals which you're very proud about, because you have to think about what's happening in the short term and the long term. I just got a message from one of my persons that I helped in 2019. So 4 years ago, this person just reached out and said, like, I have another person, for a referral, he's just sending. But, he said that because I worked with you a long time back and we were looking at my long-term goals, I was able to have more clarity about how to plan my masters. Okay, because that's what it is. So yeah, the career goals worksheet and the region worksheet, all of it is to help you think a little bit more deeper. See, of course you won't have all the answers, and I'll let you in on a secret, guys. I work with MBA people. Today, before this webinar, I was talking to somebody who was having 12 years of experience. That person also does not know what to do in life. Okay. Yesterday, I was talking to a CEO in my coaching session. That person also didn't know what to do in life. Okay. What I want to tell you is you will not know what's going to happen 5 years, 10 years down the line, but you may know the direction you want to take. As of now, what is the direction you want to take based on all the things that you know about life? That's all is the question. So I really love our career goals worksheet and other things that we have designed. And I hope you like it too. So some of them have given good answers for it. You know what, not having the passport, not giving the recommenders enough time, like what happened to my client, not getting the transcripts of time. I know you guys are, you will get the transcripts only in August, September. I know that, but you have to plan for it, right? You have to keep it in mind and know that it's one of the items to be checked off. All right. So these are some of the things, and these are the other bottlenecks that happen with your program. One thing I want to tell you. So what we do is we will answer your queries. Okay, we won't fill the form for you. We will of course give you all the handouts and everything. We will not write it. Okay, no writing, no filling. All right, so we'll provide you the suggestions for the courses, etc., how to do the research, what to do, giving you extra information, asking you something, etc., but we're not going to do the research for you, right? So what do I mean by research for you is, see, I can tell you, look, Georgia Tech is amazing for this machine learning in social media space. Okay. Now, what do you think of it? Only you can answer the question of what do you think of it. I can tell you that it's good for it, but only you have to decide whether you like it or not. Okay, so that's why we say research on the program. All right. We can definitely discuss with you and help you through any problems that you might be having. But we cannot contact your professors for you, or like, contact the admissions office for you, etc. All right. So this is something that you have to keep in mind. And of course, like, take care of things. So basically, before we go, the new GRE is around. The very funny thing is they're just calling it the shorter GRE. It's so funny. But I have to tell you something. Just because it is shorter doesn't mean that the preparation time is shorter. Do you guys get it? Okay. Don't get fooled by the fact that it is a shorter test. It doesn't mean that it is an easier test. It might require the same amount of preparation, or it might require more preparation. Why? Because see, earlier you got 40 questions within 70 minutes, right? Now you have to get all the 27 questions right? The granularity is a little lesser. Can you see that? So, yeah, even though it might be shorter, doesn't really mean that it is better. So we will only know how it happens later on in life, and so on. But it's open. If you guys want to use it, why don't you like talk to us and then let's take a call. Okay. The reason I'm telling you is, yeah, the schools are not going to take anything differently, but there are some schools which will say that, hey, the shorter GRD may not be accepted or whatever. So we'll have to look at the policies when they come up, and only then we'll know. Because this test is not yet available. It comes in September of 2023. It will be too late for you guys. So go for the current GRE. Can someone tell me in the chat as to if you are looking at the shorter GRE that's there? Can you tell me quickly, and then my team can reach out to you and see what we can do? Yeah, I'll just wait for your answers. So what part of the webinar today did you find more useful? Excellent. Looks like a lot of great oats here. Very nice. Okay. couple last things before I go, and I have one more question to answer. Yeah, the score sales kind of the same for GRE, etc., and all that. Transcript versus mark sheet is transcript is something different. You have to apply in the office. You get it in a sealed and signed, and it's a consolidated list of everything you've done till date. Okay, so this is an example. You get a grading system, you get a sign, you get the seal, etc. Mark sheet is only for the semester or for the year, so that is the difference, as you can see on the screen. Okay, so you will get the transcript after your 6th semester results are out, or if you are a person working in sorry, how do I say, you're like you just graduated, like, it will be your last semester's mark. So whatever marks you've got till date, whichever number of semesters, you will be getting it, and that is what you will be submitting as an official transcript. So this you have to go to the person. Now, our process for you, you may not have realized it. We have already done all these things, and by July you will start drafting your recommender, like your CV, your list, your LORs, etc., etc. So there are many things that we do. So then you might wonder, hey, why are you talking about recommenders now only? So that it becomes easy for you to finish by, August, September, right? That's why we're doing it. So yeah, this is another way to look at the process. And every month you guys have been slowly inching towards progress. Okay, but good progress, slow but steady progress. All right, so this was amazing for me to talk to you all. And I want to tell you about, if you guys knows how to achieve your goal, the career goal. There was a question about a career goal, and I wanted to bring this up. Excellent, folks. Thank you. And one last question before I answer the few remaining questions and let you go. Um, please let us know how did you find it and what else we can do for you. Next month, we're going to have the webinar on gearing up for applications. So please do be present for it so that you can put everything together. As always, don't forget to watch all the sessions before, attend all some of the quizzes, and of course understand your master's preference and the handouts, etc. That'll be very helpful for us. Excellent. So with that, we come to like the question answer time for a couple questions which are here. All right. So okay. So one person says like statement on not knowing about the future was a sigh of relief. Yeah, it is. Yeah. You need to know the direction, but you don't need to know exactly the way. See, it's like this. I know that I'm going to, say, for example, I know I'm going to Bangalore to Delhi. So I know I had to keep traveling north. But I don't have to know, like, okay, from where to go, how to go, how to exactly go, etc. I can figure it along the way. I can keep moving north till the time I reach Delhi, right? That's what I mean. You don't have to exactly know what you're doing right now. Trust me, nobody does. Okay, nobody will tell you that. Okay, but anyway, they will know a little bit of the stretch ahead, and that's fine. One person says, I'm afraid of basing my entire profile on one career path and getting shoehorned. Lovely use of phrase there, I mean, use of words there. Trust me, I had to tell you this sad story, or this is not sad necessarily. This is the true story. Let's put it that way. Everybody is not going to continue on the same first job or the first career path they have chosen. Everybody. That is the truth. Okay, I am proof. Every client of mine is proof for it. So you will start a first job, you might even do a master's in it, whatever, but later on you will pivot because you change, because you're at a different career stage in your life. Okay, so don't assume that you will be doing only one specific career path right now. That is going to change later as well. All right. So with that, thank you so much, folks, for being such a attentive audience, and of course, for your fastest responses and your comments on the questions box. Really appreciated. We'll be having more office hours. We'll be having other things for you if you're not done your CV and so on. So we'll be having more workshops, more office hours in the months to come, and I really look forward to seeing you there. Make use of the time. The time that you have is very limited and very precious. Always try to do something towards your masters every day, and you should be good enough. All right, and do it with joy and do it happily. So all the very best, and I'll see you soon. Bye.